Ooh, hello, y'all. I am so happy to be back in my regular recording setup. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, or even if you're old here, my name is Lex, and I would greatly appreciate it if you would like to help support this channel. If you would consider, while you're watching the video, while you're checking out the content, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much to those of you guys who are patient with me. I was on a cruise, and so yeah, my content was a little bit backed up and a little bit delayed. Thank you guys so much for your understanding. We are going to talk about Married at First Sight, and I know this episode is from I think 2 weeks ago. I didn't actually realize that Married at First Sight took a 2 week break. I did not notice that. So I thought I was like 2, 3 episodes behind. And then I'm like looking at my DVR and I'm like, oh, I'm just one episode behind. Okay, we good. We straight. So this is going to be Married at First Sight, season 18, episode 9. And this is going to be kind of, another. This is a big episode where they were with the therapist, Dr. Pia, to be exact. This is a big episode where they were with Dr. Pia. So we're going to get into that. Let's go. So we start off this episode with Madison and Allen. Remember, Madison was very, very upset because she let us know at the flag football game that Allen had gotten really drunk the previous night. And so he was super grouchy in the morning. He didn't want to come to the game. So she is coming back from flag football. Allen's in bed. He like, I
Not sleeping. I was gonna hit you with a pillow.
No, I'm wide awake.
How are you feeling?
I feel fine.
Yeah?
I don't know. I laughed. Now she was like, "Look, I was really upset. I was really upset about what happened last night." And they show a little flashback of them deciding at the little birthday party she threw him that they were actually going to hit up another bar to keep the party going. Now he felt. Alan tells us, "Look, I felt like at the bar you were interact. I was like interacting way more with your friends. I was interacting way more with my friends, and it just kind of felt like you did not want to be around me." Now he thought that she left at one point because he was like, "Look, I even asked, like, yo, where's she?" And someone told me that you left. She's like, "Oh, well, I was in the bathroom, but I don't know. I also came out and, I thought you were gone." So they both thought the other one was gone. And because they thought the other one was gone, they both left. And Alan says something that I was like, yes. He's like, "Well, we both have phones." I was like, thank you. Like, why are we doing this kind of like freestyle when it's like we got phones? We have phones these days. Like, call each other, text each other. Now, he says, "Look, I felt a lot of single Madison, and because I was feeling the single Madison who just kind of wants to do her own thing and doesn't really want to be around, I tried to retaliate per se by having a lot of fun and getting drunk and like just doing my thing." And she's like, "Oh my God. Well, what is that about though? Because that was a huge trigger for me in my last relationship where I do something bad and then my partner would retaliate." And I'm going to say, although I think Madison is in the wrong here, I will definitely say retaliating against your partner or like trying to do things to get back at them is not super healthy behavior. So it definitely did give me a bit of pause on Alan, where I was like, "Oh, okay, Alan." Now, again, I think Madison and Alan have had this big issue where Alan seems very much like he's the type that like constantly wants to be with his partner, wants to be on his partner's arm, wants to like be snuggled up all the time and say, "This is we're together, we're together, we're together." Whereas Madison definitely gives me more, I'll be in a relationship, but it's not the focal point of my life. And I think there has to be some kind of balance there. I don't think at every waking second of every waking moment you need to be with your partner. Like, as someone who's married, sometimes I go out with my friends. I even have like took trips with my friends this year, and it was fine. But at the same time, conversely, I think it is a problem if every time you're in public, you kind of have this big distance between you. You disappear. You don't interact with your partner. I have been in a relationship like that as well, where it's like at home they'd be okay towards me, but then we'd be out in public and it's like they'd completely ignore me. They pretend they didn't even know me. And it does kind of come off like, "Oh my God, are you like ashamed of me? Do you not want to be around me?" So I definitely understood the frustration there. I think, again, is Madison really 100% in right now? I'm guessing no, but we will see. So Camille and Thomas. Camille says after the flag football, she likes seeing the competitive side of Thomas. Because remember, she wants her a big. You remember? um. Now Thomas, he is in pain, bro. He's like, I sprained a quad, and she's
I definitely strained quad and a hammy.
Okay, it's your left quad.
Yes.
All right.
trying to help him stretch his leg. Remember all these? Who was it? Michelle. That was like all these old people running around. I found it funny that she said old people. Now, Camille does ask, how do you feel about us right now? And he says, look, I'm going to be honest. After the conversation with her sister, your sister, I really realized a lot of things that I never really thought about. I never really thought about what it's like to be a Black woman in America and the struggles you may have. So it definitely gave me a lot of insight about things that I never really thought about. And I was like, oh, let me find out Thomas kind of, because when he said that, I was like, I get it. Like, you are biracial, so maybe you really don't think about the plight of Black women. But I don't know. It just gave me a little pause when he said he never really thought about what it's like to be a Black woman in America. Now, she claims that it was never a deal breaker that he's not a certain way or he doesn't act a certain way. She didn't fully expect him to change because she likes him as a person. Yeah, Camille, lie to someone else. Don't lie to us. Because, yes, it sure was, girl. You were about ready to hop out because he didn't have enough swag. Come on, Camille. Don't play with us. But anyway, she claims she likes him as a person, and he says, I like you too. Like, they do seem like they're building a bit more. It does seem like Camille is letting down a little bit of that rigidity, which I like. And as I said, I think these two, if there's any couple on this show that I think has a chance, I think it's these two. I don't really know about the rest of these couples. So I am glad that Camille's kind of coming around and letting go of some of this like stereotypical projection of what she wants and also just getting to know Thomas a little more. Um so Juan and Carla, we just get a quick scene of them. Juan is like outside in the streets biking and stuff. He's like, this is what I do in the morning. I've already done 5 laps or whatever. He gets back home and Carla is just waking up. And Juan throws a little jab where he's like, Carla's always sleeping. It's 1 p.m. She just woke up. And I'm like, girl, is it a work day? Is it a weekend? I needed more info because why are we waiting? Like, if it's a work day, why are we waking up at 1 p.m. on a work day? Anyway, let's keep going. Emem and EKG. So Emem is with her friends. Remember, we're hot on the heels of EKG letting us know that Emem is the most aggressive woman out there.
Because she asks questions that are to the point. He said she's aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to find the right words to.
So Emem's friend, the one that was at the party, she's discussing with their other friend, hey, this is what Ikechi said. Like, he called her aggressive. He said it was like, synonymous with her being direct because she asks a lot of questions. Now, Emem is like, look, Ikechi says he feels this way because we don't know each other yet. So he feels overwhelmed with all of the energy and the directness that I'm giving. The friend is like, well, yeah, he also said in this party that he doesn't really have time to get to know her like that. And Emem chimes in again and says, yep, he'll be in bed by 9 p.m. I'll try to have conversation with him and he'll say it's too late. Play with someone else, EKG. You're not going to bed at no 9 p.m. What adult with a job coming home from work is going to bed at 9 p.m.? Come on now. Please, please. So, Emem is like, we're not proceeding as if we're together. Rather, will we be together? Which I think is true. Keiichi, he has not made it clear that they're together. He's always like, well, we will see if we are something. I could potentially see myself falling in love with her. God. So Emem is like, I don't know how to proceed without being called aggressive. And Emem, the answer is you don't. You do not. Okay, calling a Black woman aggressive off of nothing is just such coded language where this man don't like Black women. I'm sorry, like, this man does not like Black women. Ikechi does not like Black women. He doesn't, I would venture to guess he does not date Black women, or it's not his preference. So the answer of how you proceed is you don't. you cut your losses and you realize this man is not the one. Because not one thing he's done has given an indicator that he's even checked into the relationship. This man is checked so far out of this relationship. Anywho, let's keep going. David and Michelle. So they are going to go get their eyebrows done by Michelle's friend. Both David and Michelle are getting the brows done, okay? So they get to the brow shop, the salon or whatever, and Michelle's telling her friend, look, I feel like we take a couple of steps forward and then a couple of steps back.
Like the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
We dove right into that from the get-go.
So now it's only like, oh.
So now we are trying to focus on like more fun.
And her friend's like, sounds just like me and my husband. I love how every time Michelle talks about anything going on, people are always like, yeah, sounds normal for marriage. Hey, nobody gets that she just don't like this man. So Michelle's friend's like, I bet you've learned by now that Michelle is always positive. And David's like, ha! He laughed out loud. He audibly laughs. And I thought that was so funny. And Michelle's like, I'm glad you said that because I do feel like we've gotten a lot of real negative times together. So I'm glad that you can see in me that I am a positive person. Oh gosh, I thought it was funny that he literally laughed out loud. Now, David says, look, there's a real glow to Michelle when she is in her comfort zone. You know, and the friend lets us know that Michelle does take a while to open up if she's slightly uncomfortable. Which, once again, we've heard that from how many people now? Michelle's friend, Michelle's sister, Michelle's other family. A bunch of people have let us know that Michelle doesn't open up when she's uncomfortable because, you know, whatever, right? So David, you know, the friend is like, do you feel like you've kind of gotten to know Michelle? Like, how do you feel like you are? And David tells her that he hasn't really gotten to peel back those layers yet of Michelle, but he does feel that she is, you know, what he wants in a wife, that she does have the personality that he wants in a wife. So, you know, they get into a bit of a conversation about how active David is, how he's part of a softball league, how he plays soccer on the weekends, how he plays football, all of these different things. And Michelle's friend is like, oh, didn't you take like a softball, a bowling class? I think it was bowling, something. But they were like, didn't you take a class when you were younger? So they get into this part where they basically talk about how, you know, it's good to bond over an activity. Michelle says she could potentially get on board with pickleball. And I think that's the interesting thing is that in this show, we've seen a lot of, well, you can do this to make Michelle happy. Do these things that Michelle likes to make her happy. But what about Michelle doing things to make David happy? So I did like that we kind of got on that, where she said she might do pickleball. Is she really going to do pickleball? Probably not. But, you know, they get into this whole thing about how bonding over an activity really puts Michelle into a safe space and it allows her to open up more. Now, I don't think that's going to change. Michelle has already written this guy off, but I do think in a lot of cases and in a lot of relationships, yes, bonding over an activity can bring you closer together. Whether it's traveling, whether it's taking a cooking class, whether it's playing a video game together. Like, these are all things that can strengthen your bond and strengthen your relationship. So yeah, I think in relationships, you should be doing things together. Not all the time. You know, you can have your own separate hobbies, but it should be a couple of things that you can bond over no matter what that is. So I do think that that is important info. I just think in the case of Michelle, all this like advice that is given to Michelle is good advice. It's just the fact that Michelle doesn't like David, so it doesn't matter. She's written him off mentally already. She has an ick. So Thomas and Camille. Camille comes into the apartment as Thomas is setting up some candles for some bound chicka wow wow. That man got a massage table out. He has out some rose petals. He's like, let me take your bag. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, my hubby set up all of this. He's wearing the tight hubby shirt. Okay, Thomas is trying to show that he the man. He was trying to show that he is the man. So he's going to give her a personal massage. They got to get into a conversation about physical connections and things like that. And she does say for her that it is important to have a sexual connection before she makes a decision. Thomas lets her know, I've been ready. I'm just on your clock. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want to breach your boundaries. But he's like, I've been ready. So Camille says, I think it's time to stop playing to see what it's about. And they head off to the room. Okay, they head off to the room. All right. I gotta say, I'm happy about the strides that Thomas and Camille are making because at the beginning of the season, they were the couple that I was really excited for. Like, I was genuinely excited about Camille and Thomas. I thought they were gonna like each other. I really thought Camille was gonna like him initially. So I'm really happy that finally it seems like she's letting that wall down just a little bit. So Madison and Allen, they went to dinner and they a little drunk. Okay, those two like to drink a lot. All right, they like to drink a lot. We see them drunk after dinner, but they had fun. Apparently, they went out to dinner. They had fun. They got drunk. I don't know. It's giving friend. It's giving friends. I feel like they are good friends that can have fun together. But where is the romance with y'all two? So Carla and Juan, they are having dinner and they kind of get into conversation more about their backgrounds. Carla wants to give a little more background about her. So Carla lets us know that both of her parents are Mexican immigrants. They moved here when they were very young. And she realized, there was a very big lack of deeper connection with her family.
And because I wanted to make a difference with myself. And then I learned to be affectionate. That's why affection is so huge for me.
They didn't really express their feelings, even though they all knew they love each other. They all had each other's back. They didn't really express feelings. They didn't really talk in depth about, oh, this hurt my feelings, or I need this from you to feel loved. It just wasn't really a topic of conversation. So, for her, the lack of being able to fully express herself, the kind of passive aggressiveness or having trouble with really being direct about what she wants stems from that because there was no physical affection in her family until she got older. So once she started going to therapy and started being affectionate and learned how to be affectionate, she really realized the importance of that physical affection, telling each other you love each other, words of affirmation, physical touch, hugs, cuddling, the things that she's expressed. And, Juan, if there's one thing about Juan, he does not care. That man does not care. She pauses for a little second and he's like, oh yeah, I'm listening. He's like, I'm listening. I hear you. And I hear that you need the affection. I hear that you need all of that. I'm just not there yet though. Okay. I'm not there yet. You got to be patient with me. Well, how will you get there, Juan? This is the thing. With the EKG and Juan, because I feel like they are very similar in terms of the kind of cold demeanor towards their partners. And it's obviously because they don't like them, right? But let's play into it, right? Let's say, Juan, you really are not there yet. What exactly is going to be the route to get you there? I don't know, you can't just keep saying, I'm not there yet, and then change 0% of it. What exactly do you do to try to build that intimacy and build that closeness? So she's like, look, if I'm important to you, then you'll do this. Actions speak louder than words. And, I understood a lot of where Carla was coming from. I relate a lot to it. My parents were not the most affectionate people either. They were not the, I love you, oh my God, I love you so much type. They weren't giving a lot of hugs, a lot of kisses, and the same way until I got older, and just one of my parents at that. Okay, one of my parents is not like that. One of my parents is like that now, where yes, I get more affection, get more love, get the cute, I'm I love you text, and I hope you're doing well text. But yeah, that is definitely something I related to in Carla, where it's yeah, as well in therapy, I had to touch on being more affectionate with partners, saying I love you, all of these different things, because it's not the immediate first thing that my mind would think of. And it is definitely a journey to get there. But as well, I think I'm the same as Carla, where nowadays, yes, physical touch, physical contact, words of affirmation, all of those things are some of my love languages because of not getting those things and realizing as an adult that those are things that I really like and value and enjoy. So I totally understand that. And I think my frustration with Juan is that Juan is not upfront. I feel like Juan gives very little and he's not interested in talking about it or diving deeper and even being honest with Carla about what it is that's not working. Because it's clear that there's something about Carla that he's just turned off by. He has the ick by. And I feel like he's not being upfront about exactly what that thing is, even with the experts. So at least it's kind of like you're giving her nothing. You're giving nothing, Juan. And I feel that is very frustrating. So Michelle and David, they go on to meet two of David's friends. They go bowling. Now, Michelle is telling the friends, look, I came into this very open-minded. Did you, Michelle? It seems like on paper you wanted to be open-minded so you could get matched because later in this episode we get another clip of Michelle describing what she wants and how it is exactly who David is. And then we got another clip a couple of episodes ago of Michelle describing that she would be fine with being with someone who lived at home. I'm starting to think Michelle just threw anything at the wall because she was so desperate to get matched that she felt like she had to be okay with anything. I don't know. That's what kind of leads me to think that Michelle is not physically attracted to David, because I feel like if she was physically attracted to him, a lot of this stuff would kind of slide off more. I'm thinking it's a physical attraction problem. Of course, the living at home, I think, turns her off. But I do think that, like, it's compounded by a lack of physical attraction. So anyway, let's keep going. Now, Michelle claims that David has the values that she's looking for, but she's not feeling the physical connection, which she admits, and the lifestyle living at home. So, she feels like, she tries to give an example. She's like, well, I feel like, for instance, he cusses a lot. Like, if we're in a nice place or if we're in front of like CEOs or tech people, I'm like, Michelle, girl, what are you talking about? She was like, I'm not sure if, how he would act, how he would be. Like, I'm just not sure. And like, everybody there, like all of the friends in David are like, what? Like, obviously, if he's in a nice place, he's going to be able to like rein it in and like be respectful and be a good person. And we see that David has very good manners, like very good, he's very like well spoken. Like, I feel like he's a very calm guy. There's something about David to me that indicates that in a upscale place or around tech people or CEOs, which, Michelle, give me a break. You're not around tech people and CEOs. What are you talking about, girl? But it's like, okay, even if you are, there's no indication that David's not going to be able to be respectful in those ways. And I understood him feeling very insulted in the confessional where he's like, what is she talking about? Like, how can you say that I have all these great values and then you continue to judge me and think, like, basically she thinks this man is below her. She thinks this man is below where she is. There is nothing about Michelle that gives the pinnacle of elegance, class, none of that. If I looked at Michelle, girl, you look like the girl next door. You look like any old normal woman. There is nothing about you that gives, I am up here, I am elegance, I am class, I am money. All of these things that you feel that you portray, that you imply that David doesn't have. I'm sorry. But like, what is this? What is this? So anyways, we keep on going. So, she continues to talk about how she feels like she's been shutting down because she hasn't felt the spark. And the friends are like, one of the friends, the bald friend, he's like, so what are you going to do to get there then? Because David's a great guy. So what are we going to do to get you to a point where you like him? I like the friend. He goes straight to the chase. He's like, all right, enough. David's a good guy. You claim you want to be in this. So what are we going to do to get there? No answer. I love how all of these people in David's life shut the show all the way down to the point where she had that little dumbfounded look on her face. Because it's like, girl, what are we talking about? Now, again, David in the confessional, he's just in shock that, she says he has all these qualities, but all she can focus on is him living at home. And you could tell that David is visibly irritated in this episode, and I don't blame him whatsoever. Because I feel like if you are with somebody who every single moment of every day is just beating you down and talking about your shortcomings, let's say, I'm sorry, but like, that's tiring. Especially when you present yourself as a good guy, a respectful guy, a nice guy. And this woman is just so nasty to you for no reason. And the problem is she doesn't want to leave. That's the even worse problem, is that she keeps chugging along knowing that there's no possibility there. I don't know, y'all. So anyway, Madison and Allen, they meet with Dr. Pia and they discuss how, or Madison discusses how the biggest challenge for her right now is still the physical. She says that she is still working through things from a compatibility standpoint. Now, Allen says, look, I expect when I'm out with someone to be able to know what's going on. Like if I'm out with my partner, I expect like, hey, you might tug my hand and we go get a drink. Or if I see you at the bar, we make eye contact and I know that you're coming back over. Like Dr. Pia's like, oh, so you want the nonverbal, you want to kind of be able to know what's going on. And he's like, yeah. So, she says, look, yes, I understand that I am still in single mode. I understand that I'm still kind of in my own world and to myself more. And she explains how in her last few relationships that it was a problem with previous partners who would talk about how much she sees her family, how much she's with her friends. They had an issue. So Dr. P is like, so there's a pattern then of you deprioritizing your relationships. And she's like, oh, well. And so Dr. Pia's like, okay, so what can we do here for you to feel closer to Alan and be able to like want to be with him, want to be around him, want to spend more of that time together? And she's like, well, I could have more compliments from him. I don't think I've ever gotten a compliment from him. This is where I wish Alan would have spoke up, because we saw last episode Alan compliment her outfit in the party. Alan was literally like, you look nice today. This is where, again, I'm like, Alan, why don't you speak up ever? Because I get that you want to keep the peace. But she's lying on you. She is lying on you right now. Because we saw on the TV. We saw that you do compliment her. So anyway, she's like, oh, if he complimented my outfit, all of these different things. And, for Alan, yeah, he just wants to really feel that closeness together. So again, Madison, I guess, likes Alan as a friend. I guess there's no physical connection there yet. So Thomas and Camille, they also meet with Dr. Pia. Now, Thomas lets Dr. Pia know that Camille makes him feel very safe, and they reveal to us that they consummated the marriage. Good for them. Like I said, I'm really happy to see Camille letting that wall down a bit, because I think Thomas is a good guy and I think that they could work. I really have faith for look, guys, I need one couple to root for. Okay. So now Camille, or Dr. P is like, so sexually, like, have you guys talked about boundaries or different things? And Camille lets us know she has no boundaries as long as she feels comfortable. Thomas was like, okay, well, for me, I feel like I may not have tried everything, but I am open to trying a variety of different things together. So I guess Camille a freak. That's what she wants to say. She is a freak. Now, she even lets us know that she likes whips and chains. Okay, she like her little bit. She a freak? Now, Camille lets us know once again that she really wants Thomas to be more of a leader and to be more opinionated, because that's a turn on for her. And I understand that. Now, we haven't really seen a demonstration of whether Thomas is a leader or not, but I can definitely understand the opinionated piece, because at least for me in a relationship, I do not like when you just agree blindly with everything I say. I don't like when you just to everything I say, and then down the line, because we're all human and have different opinions, you blow up on me later. You know what I'm saying? So I do like as well when I have a partner who is opinionated, when I have a partner that has defined thoughts on things, when I have a partner that we can have discourse, we can have debates, we can have like healthy debate, healthy discourse, where we can talk about our different viewpoints and kind of explain that. At least to me, I also really like that. So I understood that part. The leader stuff, I don't know about that though. Now they get into Thomas and, him, and why he's maybe a little more reserved, or why he's a little like less opinionated, why he's not as forward. And he talks about how he's afraid to say he loves someone because he's afraid that they might leave. It's a big word for him, the L word, as he calls it. He says it's a really big word for him, and he's reserving it and he's saving it for somebody who, he really loves. But once you put the word out there, again, that person can choose to do whatever and kind of rip your heart out. Now, he says he feels very lucky to be here. because he didn't think he was going to get to this point again. He explains once again that he was not a great partner in his previous relationship, and he didn't even think that he deserved a second chance. And the thing that I still find interesting about all of this is that I feel like Camille has not asked a lot of questions about the cheating. I think she knows about it, right? I feel like his cheating and his infidelity has never came up. And I feel like Camille has never really asked a lot of questions about it. He'll always kind of allude to it and allude to how he was not a good partner. And there's never any like further questions about that whole thing. So I just find that to be very interesting. Now, Dr. Pia asks Camille, like, what is love for you? And Camille says, look, love for me is being able to be an open book and be myself. That'll make me fall really fast, really quickly. So again, these two, I have hope for them. I have hope for them. Please give me one couple that actually makes it. All right. Emem and EKG. Oh, Lord.
One another and, you know, enjoying each other's time to now me asking questions about our marriage turning into something.
So we get the diary cam of Emem saying that they went to dinner the previous night and things got testy. She says that she was asking him, what did you do to prepare for marriage? And Akechi got so irate to the point where he was raising his voice, yelling in the middle of the restaurant, and people were looking. So obviously they haven't really talked. They have kind of been doing their own thing. I don't know. I feel like Ikechi is a ticking time bomb. It's crazy that Ikechi calls her aggressive, and yet the most aggression that we have seen displayed on this screen, whether it's passive aggression, direct aggression, has been from Ikechi. It hasn't been from Emem, it's been from Ikechi. So anyway, let's keep going. Carla and Juan, they meet with Dr. Pia. Carla talks about how Juan has not met her parents yet. And Dr. Pia's like, so are you guys going to get to that? You know, now for Carla, she says that introducing someone to her parents, especially to her father, is a very serious thing. It requires a lot of respect. She doesn't want to just introduce anybody. So even though they are married, she still doesn't want to introduce Juan until they get to know each other on a deeper level. Now, Juan lets us know he's just not really feeling the chemistry right now. He doesn't really feel comfortable to hold her hand, kiss her, things like that. It's just not coming naturally for him. So Dr. P is like, do you guys feel like you're married right now? Because, you know, obviously, with hearing Carla hasn't met, you know, or Juan hasn't met Carla's parents, and Juan doesn't feel any chemistry. I think Dr. Pia was like, so are y'all married? Like, do you feel like you guys are married? And Juan's like, well, we're in it. So Carla's like, look, I'm going to be honest. I feel like the physical chemistry, if it's not coming, it doesn't need to be forced. You know, you not feeling it is an answer in and of itself. Thank you, Carla. I agree with you. And Juan claims, look, we do have like a good relationship. Like we get along, we agree on a lot of different things, but we just can't get over that hump. Sure thing. Juan. You know, with Carla, with him not meeting Carla's parents, I think Carla internally feels like this is not real, and internally feels like Juan's not fully in it, and I feel like that's why she doesn't want him to meet, you know, her parents. Like, I just feel like it's an internal thing where you're like, I don't think this is real. All right. Anyway, Camille and Thomas, they go to a jewelry store, and Camille takes Thomas to get a chain, gold chain, and some earrings.
Can we try a bracelet on too?
Sure.
Create my own little wish list while we're here. I have so much fun playing dress up.
Right.
In the confessional, Thomas says, I guess my swag meter has gone up. What is this stereotypical shit, y'all? Excuse the cuss. What is this? What is this? You know what? As long as these two are getting along, I'm cool with it. You know, as long as these two are getting along and they're both happy, it's all good. Thomas, if you're not happy, blink 3 times. Let us know. Because what is going on? What is going on, Camille? All right. Anyway, Emem and EKG, they meet up with Dr. Pia at a restaurant.
You're choosing not to sit next to your wife?
I'm choosing to have a seat.
What's with the attitude?
I don't have an attitude. I'm just tired.
All right. So immediately, Emem gets there first. They don't come together, obviously, because they're not talking. EKG chooses to sit, like, it's Emem, a chair, EKG. EKG chooses to sit in this third seat right here. And Dr. Pia's like, excuse me, you're not going to sit near your wife? He's like, I'm choosing to take a seat. Full of attitude. Full of attitude. Dr. Pia's like, so what's with the attitude, EKG? You clearly seem like you're not in a good mood. And I like Dr. Pia because she stands on business. Okay, she don't let them talk to her no type of way. And she's not going to let them just come out of nowhere acting like this. I like Dr. Pia. This is the first season I've watched with her, and I really like her a lot. Okay. He claims, EKG, that no matter what, it always goes back to all these questions. Like, damn, can I enjoy you for a minute? So again, he's still stuck on this whole thing that Emem just bombards him with questions every minute of every second of every day, and they can't just have normal conversation. And Dr. P is like, okay, so wouldn't those questions be a way to get to know each other better? And he's like, yeah. He's like, well, I'm from the South, I'm not used to all of that. So she's like, okay, KG, so like, what exactly then is the reason for all this? Why are you so frustrated? Like, what is going on? He's like, I'm not here to be fixed. And she's like, I get it. Dr. P is like, I get it. I get that you're not here to be fixed. You think you're great, whatever. Dr. P was saying, she was saying on business. I think you're great, you think you're great, whatever. But like, what is with the passive aggressive comments? Like, what is with all of this passive aggression? We don't understand. So EKG goes on and he's like, well, I told Emem I wouldn't use anything that happened in vulnerability against her. So I don't really want to be the one to say it. And Emem's like, so Dr. P is like, is there something that happened that we don't know about? And Emem's like, I don't think so. I don't know what he means. And so EKG's like, this is about sex, okay? I told her that I was not ready to have sex yet, and she continues to keep trying to initiate sex with me. And, so yeah, he claims that she keeps trying to initiate sex. And so at that point, Emem got really upset, and he was like, I guess she was kind of distant or she just wasn't really talking to him. He claims that the vibe changed completely when he said that he didn't want to have sex with her. So he says, one day I approached her and just said, look, I'm not trying to walk on eggshells anymore. So like, what is going on? And Emem told him that, the aggressive comments really, really hurt, that he tried to paint her as super aggressive and she doesn't like being labeled that way. Now he's like, well, she is aggressive, she continues to push for sex, and sometimes I feel like I'm just a piece of meat in the house. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So Dr. P is like, so you're trying to say that she's violating your consent? And I want to pause there because when I was watching this, I was like, Kachi, you better be telling the truth, because that is a very, very big accusation and a very, very big allegation to make against somebody just because you don't like them. Because even Dr. Pia said that. She's like, so are you trying to say that she's violating your consent? Because that's a huge allegation to make. And we need to know for sure if she indeed is doing that. And in case he kind of shakes his head yes, but doesn't really say it. So Emem chimes in, and Dr. P is like, at this point, okay, Emem, we definitely need to hear from you because we can't have people violating people's consent and things as such. So Emem chimes in and she's like, well, I've gotten mixed signals from Akechi because when we were at the honeymoon, I put my hand on his leg and he put it in his down there, things like that. Then all of a sudden we get home and he's just like, yeah, I don't want to touch anymore. So for her, she was very confused about what was going on. Now, he felt that if anybody else was there, she would treat him the same way. So basically saying that Emem is some some hoe that like just literally would be with any man in any way and jump on top of him. How insulting. This is crazy. And she's like, I'm obviously acting this way to you because you're my husband and I find you attractive. So for you to say like I would do that to anybody is crazy. And I agree. That is absolutely insane. So he's like, well, okay, it's not that I'm saying that she's like forcing herself on me. Like, I didn't mean it like that. And I'm like, well, surprise, surprise, EKG. You're always trying to paint this woman in a way to be a victim. You are literally implying that this woman is violating your consent. But then when she brings up the truth of which you actually were the one that were making kind of like moves and she was confused, then all of a sudden you're like, I didn't mean it like that. Now, let me say something. You can revoke or give consent at any time you want. I'm not saying that because Ikechi on the honeymoon was really into maybe seemingly being sexual and then he changed his mind that that's wrong. At the end of the day, no means no. And if somebody does not want to have sex with you or be with you, that's it. No, period. Like, there is no more to it. No is a full sentence. So I want to respect Ikechi and the consent that he seemingly revoked from Emem in that capacity. That being said, it sounds to me like Ikechi is giving this woman a lot of mixed signals. It sounds to me like some days Ikechi's warm and some days he's cold, and you don't know which Ikechi you're gonna get. And I think when you are with a person like that, it is very, very difficult. At the end of the day, I feel bad for Emem because she needs to realize this man doesn't like her. This man doesn't like you. And he's even trying to frame it as if you are forcing him to have sex because he does not like you. And I feel like for Emem, it's like, girl, cut your losses and head out. Cut your losses and head out. Because at this point, it really is clear that this man is disgusted. He is coming in front of the therapist's face saying, all you think of him as is a piece of meat. Because you want to try to build a connection with your husband. And I feel like with someone like Ikechi, he gives you nothing. He gives you a lot of nothing, and that's why you go into overdrive. That happens, where I feel like when one partner's not giving a lot, the other partner overcompensates by going hard, and that's where this aggression that Ikechi is giving is coming from. And again, just like with Juan, okay, Ikechi, you claim you're not there yet, she's doing too much, you're not interested. What exactly is going to be done to get there? Because you say you don't talk to her because you go to bed at 9 p.m. You guys don't spend a lot of time together because you both work full time. You don't want to, have a physical connection or be close in that way. So what exactly is there to getting to know each other as people? Because you keep claiming that's what you want from her. I would assume at dinner, he barely talks. Once again, he wants to say, oh, you're bombarding me with questions. I would assume at dinner, Ikechi barely says a word. He probably just sits there and stares at her. And she's probably like, so, to try to get conversation going. Because you guys don't know each other. You don't know each other. How else are you supposed to get to know a person you don't know besides asking questions? You don't want to do activities with her. You don't want to go out with her because you don't have the time. So the only time that you guys can talk is at these dinners where she has to ask a bunch of questions. But for Emem, I feel like Emem, girl, realize no means no. And I don't mean in the sense of like, girl, you're forcing yourself. Like, no. I mean no means no, that this man is telling you no, he don't want you. He does not want to be with you. He does not like you. He's not attracted to you. No means no for Ikechi when it comes to attraction. All right, I got to speed this up because my camera's overheating, y'all. Anyway. All right, we back. So, Michelle and Dr. Pia. So, Michelle claims with Dr. Pia one-on-one that she and David are getting along better, but she can't help but feel that she is settling for something she doesn't want. So she explains that she feels like David is a really simple guy who lives a very simple lifestyle, who eats the same things every day, works in a simple job, all of these different things. Like he's really a small town guy, and being with someone like that worries her that she's going to revert back to where she came from. Because she talks about how she came from a small town and now she lives the big life in Chicago, baby. This girl is a big city gal now. So for her, it reminds her of where she came from. She says that she doesn't really, necessarily only care for the superficial, but she wants the superficial things because she works hard in life. So she doesn't want to go backwards. So Dr. Pia is like, so who said that you would have to give those things up if you were with David? Like, who said that you would not be able to enjoy those things? Dr. Pia is like, look, I feel like you feel like you're going to have to teach David a lot, and you're going to have to kind of be the one to expose him to a lot of things. And for you, you don't like this feeling of having to teach your partner things and having to kind of dim yourself down. But at the end of the day, you probably should reframe your mindset from I'm teaching this guy every little thing to I'm exposing him to some things that I enjoy and I love. No one is telling you you have to give up your lifestyle. No one is telling you that you cannot enjoy the things you want to enjoy. And I agree. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of people, like, just because you are with somebody, it doesn't mean that you guys come from the exact same background. Like, yes, under certain circumstances, there are some people who are just small town, simple people who probably would not not mesh very well with somebody who's from a big city. But at the end of the day, it's like David, to me, gives me vibes that he's open to do things. Now, yes, I get the frustration and the feeling of feeling like, oh my God, I need to teach my partner stuff. They don't know anything. But again, she's projecting. I think Michelle is projecting a lot that she's going to have to teach David stuff and he doesn't know anything and he's not exposed to anything and he's uncultured. And again, this is another example of Michelle projecting that this guy is below her. And again, I ask myself, Michelle, what is it? Because nothing about you gives class, status, nothing. You seem like a very average woman. Very average. So I don't know. You think you and David are worlds apart. And the reality is, girl, you act like you're living lavish. You're on yachts every weekend. You're in the hands of CEOs and all these people. Girl. Like, this man can adjust to going to sushi. Like, this is what she's talking about. That she likes to go eat at a sushi restaurant or something. Like, girl, he can eat sushi. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You guys are not that far off. Like, I don't know. I don't know. So Michelle's like, well, I'm just worried that he can't be a provider, like financially. Like, I just don't think he's there. And Dr. Pia's like, okay, but like, what about the other things he can provide? And she's like, well, what else could he provide? Like, how else could they provide? Because Dr. Pia's like, okay, but like, there's a lot of other things men can bring to the table besides finances. And she's like, how else can they provide? I'm like, Michelle. And Dr. Pia's like, you don't know the other ways a man can provide? Emotionally? Like mentally? Spiritually? Companionship? You don't know the other ways that a man can provide? And also, Michelle confused me because, girl, do you want a provider or no? Because you're the one that's always talking about how you a big boss, you independent, you make your money, you do all that. And now all of a sudden you're talking about a man who's a provider. So do you want a provider or do you want to be the provider? Anyway, let's keep going. So Madison and Allen, they play sex-themed Twister. They talk about their sexual connection, they're flirting, and they seem like they're getting there. So we might see those two consummate their marriage soon. Carla and Juan. They over dinner have a talk about their careers. Carla talks about how she wants to be an entrepreneur. She's about to buy her own space. Juan is trying to basically give her some tips, tricks, and advice on being an entrepreneur. And he also says, it's a lot. It's going to take up your whole life. And she's like, I know, but I feel like I'm ready. He says that he would let her use his resources, his marketing team, all these different things. Okay, cool. Emem and EKG, they are at Emem's practice. And he sees her give injections. I think one of the tips that they were given was to look at each other in each other's natural element rather than just forcing these activities and stuff. Let's see how you are in your natural element when you're in your comfort zone. So they admit they have not talked since the conversation with Dr. Pia. So EKG claims that he was not trying to embarrass Emem during that conversation. Yes, you are. You are always trying to embarrass and make her look like a very bad person. Yes, you were. She claims she does not know how to move anymore. I agree. It seems like everything you do, this man's going to flip it, twist it, reverse it, and make it sound like you are, I don't even know. Now, he claims, look, I just didn't want to get to know you in that way initially, I guess sexually. He didn't want that to be the leading force. All right. Now, he says that he needs her to be okay with nothingness. He doesn't want all this hyped up stuff. He doesn't want all these questions. They just want to be able to enjoy each other in nothingness. Okay, EKG. I think the reality is EKG wants to be the leader in terms of like, EKG wants everything in the relationship to be on his terms. And I feel like right now he doesn't feel like it is. I feel like he thinks Emem has a very forward personality and she's kind of the one steering it. So he wants her to fall back. He wants to knock her down so many pegs so that way he can be in the driver's seat and he can guide the pace at which everything goes. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. We gonna see it. All right. And lastly, we end off with David and Michelle.
That's a little tough.
So I know that you've mentioned several times, like, well, why were we matched together? Why were we matched together? Like, is this the right fit? And, I can continue to tell you all why.
So David and Michelle, they talk with Dr. Pia together now. So Michelle says, look, we don't really spend a lot of time together, but it's chill. Dr. Pia's asking, how are they? David says he feels like the communication is getting better between them. Michelle says they don't spend a lot of time together, but it's chill. The reason why they don't spend a lot of time together is because of the opposing schedules, David's schedule, basically. So Dr. Pia's like, I've been hearing down in the grapevine that there's some complaining going on, and I have some clips of what both of you guys wanted in a relationship. So is it cool if we play those clips? They show it, everything as such. Michelle says she really wanted someone easygoing, funny, that could carry a conversation, exudes confidence. All of the things that David has. So Dr. B is like, do you feel that David embodies those things you said? And she's like, yes. But you could tell that Michelle is clearly annoyed. So David, he gets up and he goes. And Dr. Pia says, okay, so you're clearly annoyed, Michelle. What's up? She's like, I don't have a connection with him. I just don't know what to do. I don't feel a connection with him. Dr. Pia's like, okay, so is there something else besides the living at home? Because we've played all these different clips of what you want in a person. And everything that you've stated, we've given. So is there something else that is bothering you? It seems like you're really focusing in on the living at home, but is there something else? She once again expresses that David has a very simple life, and for her, she feels like she's going to be going backwards if she's with somebody like David. Now, David comes back into the picture and explains, look, I feel like we have different views on what a simple life is. Because for me, when I say a simple life, I just mean I like to do things in a way that's simple. I like life to be not as challenging. Like, I don't want to be going through a lot of stress every day. Dr. Pia's like, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Michelle. I feel like your biggest fear is that you're going to have to change. You feel like because you perceive that you and David have these significantly different lifestyles, that you're going to have to change yourself, be someone totally different. And once again, no one is forcing you to change who you are. No one is forcing you to give up the things you love. No one is forcing you to do any of that stuff. You could still enjoy the things you enjoy, and that is totally fine. And they kind of end off the episode there. I do think that with Michelle, I've already said it multiple times, Michelle perceives herself as above this man. And to me, I'm just like, girl, this man could go to a spa. Like, this is her definition of luxury. Going to Pilates, going to a spa, going to Starbucks in the morning. Like, girl, this man can learn how to do those things. Not even learn. This man can accompany you to do those things. Like, what is it, Michelle, that you do that you feel... And she admitted it. She even admitted in the episode, like, she feels like David cusses a lot and he's not, proper and prim. And it's like, girl. And I can definitely understand David's frustration because this woman essentially called you uncultured and like disgusting. Uncultured and ill-mannered. And I feel like I would be so offended if someone talked about me like that for no reason. So anyway, that is it, y'all. This episode chock full of a lot of things. These couples, please, Camille and Thomas, I need y'all. I need y'all to be the couple that makes it, because we need somebody to make it on this show. Anyways, if you made it to this point of the video, I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps to get the videos out there, and it inspires me to keep creating. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!